Sherry, we do have 12.
Thank you. And Barry and Evan, are we recording and streaming?
Stream is live, not recording.
Evan is on the call as well.
Okay. And thank you. Okay. Today is Tuesday, July 12th. It is 7:00 p.m. and I'd like to call to order regular meeting 1380 of the Wachusett Regional School District Committee. This meeting is being live streamed on Holden TV and on the WRSDC live stream. For our first order of business is public hearing, and I believe Barry said we have one member of the public for public hearing, Lincoln Waterhouse. Lincoln, if you would like to begin, state your name and address for the record. And we do have 3 minutes for public hearing today. Linda will be notifying you when your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sherry. I'll do my best to keep it that 3 minutes. Hello, everybody. I'm Lincoln Waterhouse. I live at 57 Calumet Hill Road, South in Princeton, Mass., and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with everybody tonight. As some of you may know, I'm a thankful parent of 2 Wachusett Regional High School graduates, but I'm also the coordinator of special education, helping to facilitate the implementation of special ed programming for our students with disabilities. I also had the pleasure of acting as interim administrator of special education for the district during a time period where the district was searching for a permanent replacement for this position. This and the motion to approve reappointment for our administrator of special education prompted me to consider speaking and sharing with you today. So, excuse me, to describe, our department's vision and celebrate the many accomplishments that have occurred over the last few years would take more time than I know I have. But I wanted to provide you all with some highlights. Eligibility determination is a place where special education begins. It's at this stage of the process that we identify students who require special education. Our district has now begun to use a digital suite of assessment tools that our psychologists and related service providers have access to. And these digital tools will allow greater flexibility in both how we assess and what we assess, and help us to make data-driven decisions. We've aligned ourselves as a department with the Massachusetts Department of Education's messaging with regards to eligibility determination. We no longer will we require medical documentation to find a child eligible. DESE has provided us with definitions to use to determine whether or not a child has a disability. It's those definitions and the data that we gather about students' abilities that now drive our decision-making process, not a doctor's note. We've expanded the number of tools we use to assess transition-related needs so that we can prioritize and then teach skills related to functional living and vocation, which some of our most vulnerable students need. Once special ed begins for a child, we continue improving how we provide specially designed instruction. Teaching students to read is part of our core mission, whether or not a child has a disability or not. In special education, we work with students who require alternative approaches and systematic instruction to learn these core skills. And over the last couple of years, we've provided training to 55 staff members in the Wilson Reading Program. This has resulted in our schools having 17 additional staff with Wilson Reading certification teaching in our schools to begin our 2022-2023 school year. And we anticipate that 20 additional staff will be available in the years to come. This is very encouraging as we approach how to improve the lives of our students that are recognized as having a specific learning disability, such as dyslexia. We've initiated and piloted co-teaching models in our schools, recognizing that this methodology allows our special education teachers to work alongside our regular education teachers and allows our students to learn alongside their non-disabled peers while still providing them with access to the specially designed instruction that they need. We've created new places in our high school where students can learn and practice pre-vocational office skills, inventory skills, food skills, and computer skills. We've created environments where students can learn and practice what many of us take for granted, such as making a bed or brushing our teeth, or finding things to do when others aren't there directing us to do something. While many of us may pick up a book or go for a walk, some of our students become stressed when an adult isn't there to help them and direct them. We need to promote independence. We need to teach these students how to engage in activities with independence.
Excuse
We've
me, Lincoln.
expanded our community.
I'm sorry. If you could
No.
hold for just a moment, please. There's been a point of order listed in the chat. One moment, please.
Okay, certainly.
Member Lavoie is asking for a point of information. Matt, could you please read your point?
Sure. This sounds more of like a report from WRSD administration versus public comment. And I know I joined the meeting a couple minutes late. I just wanted clarification if we were in public comment or if we were in a report from WRSD administration.
It is my understanding that this is public comment and that you are speaking, Lincoln, as someone from the district, as you pointed out in the beginning. If you would like to clarify that point for Member Lavoie.
Yeah, typically public comment would start with somebody addressing who they are, where they reside, and I would imagine they'd have to be a resident within the district.
Matt, he did do that. He said that he is from Princeton and he has had children in the district in the past.
So I would just
He lives
ask
in
that the
Princeton.
comments state a public, as opposed to when I hear a we is not a member of the public. We is speaking on behalf of a body or a community. So if it's public comment, it should state I or an experience from the individual.
Certainly can try to shift that conversation in that language for you, Matthew.
Okay.
My intent here was to, it is a challenge as a public community member in my situation, kind of playing dual roles here. But I appreciate the opportunity again.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Okay, so with that clarification, Lincoln, if you could try to complete your comments in a first person for yourself, and we have hit our 3-minute time limit. So if you could try and come to a conclusion, please.
Okay,
Thank
I'll
you.
say just a few more brief points here. We've expanded our programming I've worked to expand programming for students with social emotional disabilities that require a substantially separate program model from 2 classrooms to 4 classrooms for grades 3 to 8. We've expanded our programming for students with specific learning disabilities that require a substantially separate program from 1 classroom to 3 classrooms in grades 3 to 8. And there is a topic which we all hate about talking about, and that is funding. While DESE discourages us from discussing financial matters when developing a special education program for a child, we do not live in a fairy tale world. It takes resources to meet the needs of our students, and to this end, my goal has always been to use the resources we have, as well as find additional resources that are available. This work continues. Money has been saved, moving to a new data management system for IEPs. We've saved money in the digital platform.
Point of order. Since I've raised my point of info, I've heard the speaker say us, we, our, and he just said we again. I'd like to end public comment for this speaker as he's out of order.
Lincoln, I'm sorry, I do need to agree with Member Lavoie. Thank you
Understood.
for.
No, certainly,
Thank you
I
for
appreciate the opportunity. I guess, next time I come, I'll try to prepare my comments differently, everybody. But again, thank you for the opportunity to speak a bit today on behalf of the work that we're doing here in our special ed department.
Thank you very much. And I will say that if a member of administration or central office, any of our staff members feels the need to speak with from a perspective of the school district, if that could be through the chair in a different avenue than public session, would probably be more appropriate next time. Okay.
Thank you so much, Sherry.
Thank you. Have a good night. Our next order of business is the CPAC end of year report. And I see members from CPAC are here.
Hello.
Thank you. Let me just clarify that CPAC's public session is not timed as a normal public hearing, simply because they are giving their end of the year report, and we'll let them finish what they need to take care of here. If you guys would like to go ahead.
Yeah, I think Michelle's just going to get our slide going. There we go. Okay, so thank you, school committee members, for providing CPAC this opportunity to speak to you all and share our end of year review. Ironically, today, as we approach the 32nd anniversary of the passing of the American Disability Act, and July being Disability Pride Month. The 2021 to 2022 school year was one that we all walked into with hope and excitement as we all returned to our school buildings for in-person learning. During this time, during this return to school, we were able, as CPAC, were able, in collaboration with the special ed department and our area schools, we were able to host district-wide tours of all the special education programs for parents and interested community members to come and tour our programs. We also were able to provide some free workshops for parents from renowned clinicians and attorneys, one being the Federation's Basic Rights, and an evaluation workshop from Terry Ramos. We also had the Wind Beneath Our Wings ceremony in person, which was fantastic. There was a great turnout, and you can see there that we had Representative Ferguson, and even Senator Goby was in attendance to congratulate the winners, which everyone really enjoyed. You can go ahead and do the next slide. So while we had a lot of progress over this year, Wachusett and other schools across the U.S. faced a new set of challenges to overcome in the wake of the pandemic. Most notably, the long-term effects caused by the interruption of learning, the major decline in our children's social and emotional health, and unprecedented staffing shortages. While all children were affected by these challenges, there was a tremendous toll on our disabled students and those with learning differences. It's really important for everybody here to understand that special education is in a state of crisis everywhere. It's not just Wachusett. But this downward spiraling is creating lasting negative effects on all of our students. So CPAC, we're looking to help share feedback from our stakeholders and the perceptions of special education in Wachusett from parents and caregivers. You know, some of the frustrations that have been shared with us is that we have children who cannot read. We have children whose services and support staff are being reduced without necessary skill acquisition. And we have special ed programs such as the ABA K-4 program at Houghton and the developmental program at the ECC, which have been reduced or cut out entirely with no stakeholder feedback and to the detriment of student educational outcomes. One thing that would be concerning about this from a district perspective is it could open up the opportunity for more out-of-district placements, legal expenses, and just not really great outcomes for our students. You can do the next slide. So some of the feedback we did a survey, and some of the feedback that we got from parents was they wanted to see more communication from the district. They wanted more transparency. They wanted better family engagement in terms of the IEP process. They thought it would be good for the district to consider some sort of oversight for the special ed program. They would like to see a reading program, a reading program that aligns more with multisensory and or the science of reading. There was a lot of mention of the district's understanding of executive functioning and how it relates to the ability to learn. social and emotional training, and more steps towards inclusion. So one thing, sorry, my screen is. One thing that comes together with all of this is the importance of disability acceptance and the opportunity that Wachusett has to really pull together all of the amazing resources, the people, to come together and really brighten the future for a group of students who need us to do that. And I found this quote. It says, "The way that society thinks about disability needs to evolve. As too many people think of disability as something to loathe or fear, by recognizing how disabled people enrich our communities, we can be empowered to make sure disabled people are included." And the important thing about this is we have, Holden, for example, is working on an inclusive playground, a truly inclusive playground. They are trying to make their recreational services inclusive. So it's like society, there are big movements happening around us to include and make things accessible. And, I share this to create value, because it's not just about creating value and access for our students with disabilities, but it's also for their peers, their non-disabled peers, because as all of our students go out into the workforce, more and more companies are starting up neurodiversity studies, neurodiversity movements within their companies. NASA, Microsoft, IBM, Google, JP Morgan, Fidelity Investments, Stanford, Harvard, Berkeley, and even our own UMass Amherst are all implementing neurodiversity affirming policies. They're trying to attract neurodiverse students, workers. So I think that as a district, we have a really great opportunity to be a part of this shift in history. You can do the next slide there, Lee. Michelle, thanks. So with this in mind, CPAC just has a few specific asks. One, we would like to return to special ed team meetings. Once a month would be great, so we can participate in the planning and development of special ed programs, much like the state regulation states. We would like to work with the special ed department and collaborate on fact sheets to demystify a lot of the issues that we saw with ESY, and also have a clear description of all of our special ed programs. CPAC would like to participate in the development of the new special ed strategic plan that should be rolling out or be in development this year. We also would like to request for an unbiased third-party evaluation of the ABA program, specifically looking at caseloads, treatment fidelity, curriculums for the full spectrum of the diagnosis. We'd also like to request for a caseload and workflow review by an unbiased third party for all other special ed programs, service providers, meaning SLPs, OTs, PTs, and school psychologists. Lastly, we would ask the school committee to consider looking into a policy on timeout rooms, seclusion rooms, and/or sensory rooms, as right now there is no policy within the district concerning those. We have policies on restraint, but not on the use of these rooms. And that is all.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys putting all that information together for us for your end of the year report. I'm sure that administration and certainly the committee will try our best to fulfill these needs. Does anyone have any questions for CPAC regarding the end of the year report? Malaya?
Yep. It's really more of a comment, but I did want to say that as the liaison to CPAC, I am obviously committed to collaborating with them. And in that role, I will say that several of these requests are not new. They are requests that some of them have been made many times and just not pursued for whatever reason. So I think I'm glad that they've done their survey this year and got a lot of good data and been able to bring them to our attention so that we can follow up on them. Yeah, so that I'll leave it at that because I obviously see them more up close than anyone else, but I don't want to overstep my bounds, but I certainly have worked closely with them and seen a lot of these concerns in action. So thank you for bringing them to our attention.
Okay, is there anyone else? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. That will end our public hearing time. I would like to mention that if anyone watching would like to sign up for our second public hearing time, they can do so on the district website, and you will be invited to come into the meeting as you saw happen earlier. Okay, moving on, I would accept a motion to move into executive session to discuss complaints brought against an employee and to conduct a strategy session in preparation for negotiation with non-union personnel, Christine Smith, Administrator of Special Education, to return to public session.
So moved.
Lauren moves,
Second.
and second by Linda Longbelial. Is there any need for discussion? If we can move to a roll call vote, Randy?
Member Bennett,
Bennett, yes.
Member Brennan,
Brennan, yes.
Member DeRosa,
DeRosa, yes.
Member Gavarden,
Gavarden, yes.
Member Gustafson,
Gustafson, yes.
Member Kaminsky,
Kaminsky, yes.
Member Kirschenbaum,
Kirschenbaum, yes.
Member Lavoy, Member Longbelial,
Yes.
Member Lorway,
Yes.
Member Meter,
Yes.
Member Otmar,
Yes.
Member Runstrom,
Yes.
Member Salmon Garrett,
Yes.
Member Silva,
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Member Valentine,
Yes.
Member Woodland,
Woodland, yes.
Member Lavoy, Chair Haber.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Randy. The motion passes. We'll now move into executive session. If everyone could please leave this meeting and go into our executive session link, please. Thank you.